So much so that when it was introduced back in March of 1961, when Enzo Ferrari himself saw the car, he said this is the most beautiful car
he's ever seen.
Welcome back, everybody. I am Renzo Rosato, and this is Season 6, Episode 6.
And I'm Gaston Rosato, and today we're looking at the perhaps most iconic sports car in the world, the Jaguar E-Type, aka XKE.
That's right. XKE was designated for North America, and we're lucky enough today not to have only just one example, but two, a 1966 Series 1 2+2 Coupe, and we have up there a 1972 Series 3 Roadster with the V12 in it. We're gonna be taking a look at both cars, more focusing on the 1972. Let's get this thing on the road.
But before we do, hit that subscribe button right now, please. Let's break it down and let's go for a drive.
Let's go for it.
The Jaguar E-Type convertible. One very just cool thing about this car that I've always noticed that although some people may not know, oh, it's an E-Type or an XKE, they recognize the car.
Oh, for sure.
It's that iconic. They see it and they know about it. And they're attracted to it immediately.
I mean, come on. A front mid-engine car is really what it is.
It's a Grand Touring.
Open top, rear-wheel drive, sports car.
Of the 60s and 70s, which I think are some of the most beautiful cars of all time. There's just no denying that. First thing I can tell you is the car is so smooth. It does have power steering. You know, that is an upgrade from the Series 1 that we have back at the shop.
Right.
It does change the driving experience.
For sure. The Series 3 is the first series that introduced power steering as a standard.
Right.
And it does have some upgraded braking.
And there's a lot of just minor details
Of course.
Of the experience. Like right now, you know, this is a leather-wrapped steering wheel versus the Series 1 with a wood steering wheel.
Right.
So if you just sat in this car, it screams vintage. So getting out of a Series 1 into this one, you say, oh wow, it's more of a late model kind of car.
And there you really get to appreciate the difference.
Yeah.
And the reason we don't have the Series 1 on the road with us, because usually when we do have two of the same car, we'd like to take them out together, is because that car has already found its new owner. It's found its new home, so
Yes.
we can't bring it out on the road.
We're just waiting for delivery on that car, so we're gonna, you know, not take that type of exposure and liability to put it on the road.
Definitely not.
But this feels really nice. I do have one little complaint. It has nothing to do with the car. Obviously, we're taller individuals. The windshield just kind of lands in a very awkward place for me where I want to lower my head to see perfectly, or just above the windshield.
Right.
So
well,
I feel I'm just like crouched over a little bit. You know, I guess I can fix that by scooting myself lower.
I don't have that issue because I have longer legs and a longer torso, so I'm actually comfortable and fine with my visibility. And the production numbers for the Series 3 sits around 15,000 total cars.
It's a lot of cars, right?
It is.
A lot of cars, but they're still collectible, and they're still not only purchased to be, you know, put away museum type collections, but people drive these cars.
Oh yeah, they do.
like to drive these cars. In fact, the gentleman who bought the blue car, he said his goal in the next 10 years is to put 50,000 miles on that car.
And I love that.
And that is a fully restored car. All right, Renzo. Driving the car is obviously obviously a blast, a true experience. But one thing that I love about these classic cars is the additional element that they provide, and that's just looking at them. They're absolutely gorgeous. You don't have to drive these cars to truly enjoy them.
Yeah,
And
that's very true.
And they're both, although so similar, so very different at the same time.
Yeah.
And we just want to give you guys some of those features real quick.
Yeah, we do. And before we start, I mean, like you said, the looks of this car is iconic. So much so that when it was introduced back in March of 1961, when Enzo Ferrari himself saw the car, he said this is the most beautiful car
he's ever seen. I think that's where, you know, the legend and just the provenance and the elegance of this car really starts, right?
Yeah.
And being this a Series 1 car, meaning the first cars of the E-Type,
right?
The undeniable covered headlight, my personal favorite part of the car with this long, long nose. You know, look how it changes from a Series 3. No more covered headlight.
Right.
The bumper, the grill. There's
exactly.
so much change, yet you can see the evolution.
Exactly. So, I mean, one of the reasons they actually uncovered the headlight was to allow the light to travel further and have a little more clarity. I like the finish with the glass as well. It kind of just finishes the line of the car, right?
Yeah.
So Series 1 was 1961 to 1968, which that can become a little bit debatable. Then we have the Series 3, where we have here is, I believe, 1971 to 1975, and it's the first year of the V12 engine. It's a 5.3 liter V12 carbureted engine versus the Series 1s and Series 2s that had a inline 6, right?
Yeah, and they came with two different
Exactly.
6 correct?
So the early years had a 3.8, and then they upgraded to the 4.2.
Like this car right here.
In October of 1964 was the 4.2 was introduced, which actually had the same performance numbers, but did increase the torque by 10%. So one of the biggest things for the E-Type when it was introduced was the fact that it was a very capable car, a very good price. One of the cars to claim 150 miles an hour. Even before it started production, Jaguar was already claiming that number, which is a big deal. And a sub 7-second 0 to 60 car.
Even today, it's still a pretty, you know, not quick car, but a standard car will have that kind of performance.
It is. I mean, a car that came, it's a unibody, disc brakes, rack and pinion steering, independent suspension. It's a car that really changed the industry when it came to sport cars.
It did. And this one here is a 4.2 liter.
Right.
So when you look at these cars from a collectability point of view, it's always a Series 1, you know, 4.2 manual,
exactly,
convertible, which gives you the highest premium on a collector car. Then comes the coupe, because the cars were also available in the coupe, like they would call it. A little more of a fastback type finish and no rear seats, just two-seater.
Right.
And then, of course, the 2+2. So this is more desirable because it's a convertible, but this is more desirable because it's Series 1. And that's what makes it so great, and you can't really pick a favorite.
It's tough. It's tough for me to pick a favorite, honestly. The color combination on this one is beautiful, but I love the Roadster look also for the E-Type.
Another thing that makes these cars very different, these two cars in particular, this is a Concours restoration right here.
Right.
Totally redone, matching numbers, matching colors, blue on blue from the factory. And this, although it presents extremely well and it drives very nicely, as we just saw, it's more of a driver car. This is something you enjoy, you go out, you enjoy it, you know, it can get wet, it doesn't matter.
Right, it's not a Concours level restoration.
It's been maintained properly. It's a 1972, it's here on the road today, working perfectly and flawlessly, but it's got little dings and dents, and that's okay. You would enjoy these cars very, very different.
Cool fact is the 2+2 Coupe is actually 9 inches longer in the wheelbase. Because the 4.2, well, not because of the 4.2, but obviously to fit in the 2 extra seats in the back. Another cool feature that we didn't mention was the 4.2 engine was actually a completely redesigned block. It was a longer engine for bigger boards, and a lot of upgrades on the 4.2, and that's why it's so desirable. 265 horsepower for the Series 1. It's a lot of horsepower, and then 272 horsepower for the V12 5.3
And a
engine.
much heavier engine too.
And a much heavier engine, that is true.
Okay.
That is true.
Fantastic.
All right, all this talk, and I still haven't had the chance.
I know where this is going. All right.
I haven't had my chance behind the wheel. I gotta drive this thing.
Let's do it.
What a car. I love it, and I'm really glad that we featured it on our channel this week because it's a car that definitely holds its space in history with sports cars.
I could do this all day. But for now, guys, we want to remind you to please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget this car is available for sale. We'll have the link provided for you down below in the description box. Also, let us know in the comments, which one do you prefer? The 2+2, the convertible, the 6-cylinder, the 12-cylinder,
I would like to know what our viewers' thoughts
or
are.
both. Till next week.
I'm Enzo Rosato.
And I'm Gaston Rosato.
Peace out.